So, we've all heard the usual financial advice, right? But what if the real problem isn't your spending habits? What if it's the way you think about money? Today, we're going to flip those mental traps on their head and turn them into a clear path for success. So, let's dive right in. I mean, what if the distance between where you are now, maybe feeling a little frustrated, and where you want to be, what if that gap wasn't some big, complicated secret? What if it's just a few simple fixes in your mindset? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. You know that feeling of being stuck? Like you're on a treadmill with your finances, just running and running, but not getting anywhere? Yeah. If you've ever felt that, you are definitely not alone. It's a feeling so many people have, and honestly, it doesn't matter how much money you make. But I really want to be clear about something here. That feeling, it doesn't mean you're bad with money. It's not some personal failure. The truth is, the whole financial world is kind of set up with these hidden traps, and it is so easy to fall into one without even seeing it coming. But here's the really good news. Once you know what these traps look like, once you can see them, you can start building a path to get around them, a real path to recovery that puts you back in the driver's seat. Now, most of these traps fall into one of two big buckets. You've got the trap of doing nothing at all, we're going to call that paralysis, and then you've got its evil twin, the trap of doing way too much, we'll call that panic. So let's figure out how to escape both of them. All right, let's tackle the first one. This is a big one because it gets people before they even start. We're talking about the paralysis trap. So what is paralysis, really? It's that feeling of just being totally overwhelmed. You think, oh, I need to pick the perfect stock, or I have to wait for the perfect time to invest, or I don't have enough money to start. And all that fear of making the wrong move, it freezes you. It causes you to make no move at all. But here's the thing. Doing nothing isn't a safe bet. It's not a neutral choice. It has a real cost, and believe me, it can be a really high one. So what's the actual price tag on waiting? How about over $100,000? And that's a conservative estimate. That's the kind of growth you could miss out on just by waiting one single decade, say from your 20s to your 30s, to start investing just a little bit of money. That's the magic of compound interest, and that lost time, you can never, ever get it back. And this right here? This shows you exactly why. On the left, you've got someone who starts small, but they start today. On the right, someone waits, planning to start with more money later on. And look at the difference. The person who started early, even with less cash, ends up way ahead. Why? Simple. Their money just had more time to grow. Time is the most valuable asset you have in this game, hands down. Okay, so how do you break free from this paralysis trap? The solution is actually almost ridiculously simple. Step 1, automate it. Just set up automatic transfers from your bank to your investment account. You set it up once and you forget about it. Step 2, just start. I mean now. I don't care if it's $50 or $500. Starting with something is infinitely better than waiting to start with nothing. All right, let's switch gears and talk about our second trap. This one is the complete opposite of paralysis, but trust me, it can be just as destructive. This is what we call the trap of the overactive investor. You know this person. Maybe you've been this person. They're constantly checking their stocks, glued to the news, trying to perfectly time the market. They're basically riding an emotional roller coaster, feeling greedy when the market's up and panicking when it's down. And what does that lead to? The classic mistake, buying high and selling low. Just take a look at the story this chart tells. It's kind of mind-blowing. Over 20 years, the market itself, the S&P 500, did pretty well. But the average person investing in it, whoa, they did way worse. That huge gap between those two bars, it actually has a name. It's called the behavior gap. And it's literally the amount of money people lose just by trying to be clever and making emotional moves. You know, the legendary investor Benjamin Graham really nailed it with this quote. He basically said the biggest problem for an investor, their worst enemy, is themselves. It's not the market, it's not the economy, it's not some scary headline. It's our own emotions getting in the way. We are our own worst enemy. Okay, let's look at a real-world example of how this plays out. So imagine this. The market takes a dip. An investor sees their account go down. And right here, at the very bottom, they panic. They sell everything. They've just turned a paper loss into a real one. But then, what happens next? Look, the market starts to bounce back. But our panic seller, they're sitting on the sidelines in cash. They completely miss the rebound. And here's the kicker. Some of the biggest gains in the market happen in the days right after a big drop. And they missed it all. Okay, so we've seen the trap of doing nothing, paralysis. And we've seen the trap of doing way too much, panic. So where's the sweet spot? What's the right path? Let's map out a simple way forward. The recovery plan really boils down to just 4 simple rules. Number 1, you've got to think in decades, not days. This is a long game. Number 2, automate your plan. Take the temptation to tinker right out of the equation. Number 3, diversification is your friend. It's your built-in defense system against crazy market swings. And number 4, this is the big one, the hardest one. You have to learn to control your emotions. So, when you boil it all down, what's the secret? It isn't about being some financial genius or having a super complex secret strategy. It's really just about building a few simple, powerful habits and then having the discipline to stick with them. That's it. So that leaves us with one last question. And really, it's the only one that matters today. Think about it. The trap of doing nothing, paralysis, and the trap of doing too much, panic. Which one feels more like you? And more importantly, what is the one single step you're going to take, starting right now, to begin escaping it?